Thank you for coming today. I've got the pleasure of introducing Mario Chamorro today, who will teach us how to make it happy. Let's hear it from Mario.
Hey. Hola Google. I am Mario, and I am here to make it happy. It's not hard to bring a charango, to sneak a charango into Google Campus. It is not hard to download a looping app. What is hard is to stand in front of all of you playing an instrument that I just started learning to play it yesterday, and to use an app that I just downloaded on my way to Mountain View. Over the past 4 years, I've been working on happiness. And if I have learned something, is that happiness is hard. Sometimes happiness is hard, and sometimes happiness requires one little extra effort, one kind of like thing, a breakout from you to take some action. So this is how we're going to start this talk. When I got the invitation to come to talk here at Google, the first thing that I did was to visit the bookstore. And this is what I found. Are you smart enough to work at Google? So my immediate thought was, I don't know. But I decided to build up courage to come today to share a couple of stories with you. So Nathan told me that I just have 30 minutes today with you. So the first thing that I'll do is I'm going to set up an alarm that goes on over only 35 minutes. And my challenge is that in less those 35 minutes, I can share with you one simple idea. It's an idea that is not hard to understand, but sometimes is really difficult to embrace. So how the journey is going to go today? It's going to go like in 3 different steps. The first part is I'm going to share with you a couple of stories. Then I'm going to tell you about like some of the work that we have been doing on the happiness field. And lastly, I'm going to share something with you that happened just last week, which is really cool. The first story is about how happiness brought me to the Silicon Valley, and how happiness brought me to speak here with you today. I am from Colombia. I went to Colombia, and I used to live in Columbus Avenue, so truly Colombian. This is my volcano. It's called Galeras. I grew up in a city called Pasto, which is in the southwest of Colombia. This is kind of like the first image that you see once you open your window. And it's kind of like a magical place. This is my dad. That was this Christmas. And he's 74 years old. And that was the very first time where he started interacting with internet. Surprisingly, yes, he was fascinated about Google. Non-surprisingly, I would say. So regardless of his skills on computer and internet, I believe that my dad is an amazing life hacker. Why? Because he always finds a way to convert something bad into something good. In fact, I'm going to share with you one tip that he gave me when I was a little kid. He told me that if I was able to whistle any song that I love on my way to work or to school, definitely my day was going to be better. So in Pasto, I went to school, and when you go to school in a little town in Colombia, they tell you that the largest that you can dream is to move to the capital and to get a job into a multinational company, right? But unfortunately, that wasn't my case, because I got one of the worst SAT scores in my high school. And therefore, when that happened, your professors, your family, and friends tells you that your future is to take care of these ladies, right? And for most that I love these ladies, they're cute, right? You have to see these screens, are amazing. For the most that I love these ladies, I wanted to do something different. So when I was 16, I moved to Bogota. And in Bogota, I remember that I was just kind of like staring upon all these skyscrapers, scrapers. Again, I did it again. Skyscrapers. I did it in college. I'll tell you the story. I was staring at those big buildings, and I remember that I was thinking, why? What's happening there? But back, the country was in a really good and really bad shape in the last part of the 90s. The violence rate was going up. The economy was going down. So everybody was telling you, Mario, just go back to Pasto and just take care of the cows. Instead of doing that, I fell in love with politics, and I ended up working with the president of my country. That picture was when we launched a law to support young entrepreneurs. And life was going great. And I was able to rent a nice apartment and to have a car. And everything was going well. Until one day, it was my birthday, number 24. And I do remember that when I woke up and I said, well, how can it be possible that I haven't been able to live in a different country? How can it be possible that I don't speak any other language? I mean, I'm still trying, right? So in less than 3 months, I quit my job. I sold all my belongings, and I moved to Boston. In Boston, I just had money there to be for 3 months, so I was running out of money, no language skills, and almost not knowing anybody. So I got myself into a lot of odd jobs, from salsa lessons to teaching salsa lessons to ballet parking. And one day, I was doing ballet parking in this coffee in Newberry Street, which is kind of like this fancy street in Boston. And I do remember that a Ferrari came, parked outside, and my reaction was, I turned to the guy who was next to me and said, like, you know what? My dream is not to have one of those cars, but my dream is to go to a really awesome school such as that guy. And the guy was wearing a MIT hoodie. So the guy said, well, you know what? I mean, it happens that I'm a professor at Harvard. So if you want to come and take my class, you're more than welcome. So I said, yes. So then I started visiting Harvard, taking lessons, and then I ended up meeting a lot of people. And then I fell in love with all the academia and with the energy world and finance world. So then I decided I wanted to apply and to study at the Ivy League school. Everybody was telling me that, Mario, that's crazy. You don't have money. You barely speak English. So don't do it. Until one day, in this corner in Boston, it was December 24, 2004. It was a cold night in Boston. And I was parking cars outside on the street. Then there was this car. He came. They had a sticker on the back that said Columbia University. So I opened the door, and one thing that I do very often is I always share my dreams with people, right? Strangers. So then I told him, you know what? My dream is to study in that school. And he said, well, you know what? My daughter goes to Columbia College, but I don't think you can make it. So that day, I decided that I was going to apply to Columbia. And that night, in that corner, actually every time that I go to Boston, I stop in that corner and I just ask for 3 wishes. I just did a month ago, actually. I wish that I wanted to study at Columbia, right? So, yes, 4 or 5 months later, I was accepted to Columbia, and I always had the letter in my pocket. And one night, the same guy came in the same car, and I thank him, because if he didn't tell me that I wasn't able to go to Columbia, probably I will never take the courage to apply. So I thank him, and it's kind of like how you see these obstacles and how you play with these obstacles and how awesome things can happen. So one of the main things that I learned after Columbia was that you don't need to be rich, neither to be super smart to go whatever you want and to do whatever you want. You just need to put some effort. After school, I ended up in the finance world between Boston and New York, working from investment banking to stock trading. And then during the financial crisis, I ended up again with zero money in my pockets and kind of like starting my life again. One day, I remember that I was in this magical place called Fongwa, which is a bus that takes you from New York to Boston. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but I call it magical because you have like 4 to 5 hours to think. And it was in that magical place where my aha moment came into reality. My aha moment was this one. I had 2 questions. The first one was, what is your gift? Everybody has a gift. 100% of human beings are good to do anything, to do something, right? But just few people use those gifts, and even fewer use those gifts as a way of living. So then I start thinking about that question. And the second one was a little bit tougher because was, how are you using that gift to make the world a better place? Somebody told me that I was kind of like good connecting with people and empowering them with positive messages. So then I decided just to instigate and to start taking into some experiments. The first one was called a tourist attitude, which is kind of traveler's attitude, which is the state of mind that we have when we visit new places, right? That you become more curious, you do more things, you are here and now. My hypothesis was that we can activate that state of mind anytime in life. And then I built a website, and then people from different parts of the world were kind of like just using that theory, and then I get emails saying like, dude, thanks for your idea, I got a girlfriend, I'm enjoying more my city, and other things too. And thanks to that, I started like doing more experiments. Another one was called 365 challenges, in which people used to send me challenges, and the challenges had 2 characteristics. The first one was the challenge should be something to do good or to make people happy, and it's okay. And the second one was that that challenge should be applied in less than a month. So my first challenge was to become official and to marry people, right? So I became a priest. In fact, I'm a certified minister. In case that you guys need that service, I can give you a good discount. The other challenge was to spend time with Hare Krishnas during one entire day. Another one was to give free subway rides, and people were really expected. But anyways, it was very interesting. Another one, was called Nap for Change, in which I've been collecting, I've been collecting pictures of people napping. I hear here at Google you have amazing nap rooms. Hopefully I can get to meet one of them. But I've been collecting just pictures of people napping. Why? Because it's better to take a nap rather than to drink a Red Bull. And the other experiment was called Happy Post. In Happy Post, we start asking people to write or to draw anything that makes them happy on a Post-it note. That little action spreading to 30 countries, and then we have street teams on 30 countries going around, stopping people on the streets, asking them, what makes you happy? And from that little experiment, we start building art installations. And from those art installations, we start connecting people. And from connecting people, we start learning that happiness was a tool to generate positive social change. So with that idea in my mind, I decided to push a little bit forward and to go to my next gig. The next gig. So thanks to that, we were invited to talk at TED. We have been very close to the TEDx community. We have the fortune to have spoken in different places in TEDx. We have been also recognized by the president of Colombia, and also we have been creating some art installations and signing some happiness agreements with some mayors. Also, we got a lot of media coverage, and with that happened, kind of people start getting more interested in what you do. Which shouldn't be like that, but it is what it is. So in that point, I decided to quit my job again. So I quit my corporate job, and I decided to start spending 100% of my time doing happiness initiatives. So then I called a couple of friends in Boston, and then we built a crowdfunding platform. And we launched it. We worked really hard on that for 6 months. And we launched it, and guess what? Nobody used it. So at that point, I ended up in New York again with no money. That's kind of like a pattern in my life, right? And then I thought that probably some company could support my ideas. So luckily, by just knocking doors and just sharing dreams, I had this company who believed in me, and they gave me office space, salary, and visa. So then I was able to have a place to work and to focus my attention on these initiatives. But I'll get back to that later. Now I'm going to talk about this guy. His name was Jean-Paul. He was 5 years old. He's not longer with us. He died already. When I met him, he was a cancer patient. And the most amazing thing about him is that he was always smiling and always super active and here and there. And his doctor told me that Jean-Paul used to tell him, you know what, doc, I know that I'm going to die in 5 months, but something that really makes me happy is to make others happy. So he was giving dance classes to his peers. He was kind of like pranking like other patients. And basically, he was bringing a lot of joy to people. So for me, he was a happiness rebel, where I learned a lot from him. So what rebels do? Rebels instigate, right? So, and he became kind of like an icon for what I'm doing right now. So rebels instigate. So what is instigation? It could have like a negative connotation, but also could have a positive. So instigating is to bring about or to initiate an action or event, to change something. So why instigate? One example. That's the Yoko Ono exhibit in Sydney. And apparently in Japan, something in this word, if has been broken and then you put it back together. So they have this exhibition with plates, and my friend Freddie just built this up, and he placed it here, right? And the people who were working in that gallery told him, well, you know what, that might fall. And he said, well, that's great, because if it falls, somebody will put it back together and it will make it better. So why instigate? It's because if you're able to instigate also happiness and to prank happiness also and do good actions, then you can like start affecting peers around you and probably the world, right? And that's the whole spirit of Make It Happy. And this is kind of like the last part of my story. So this is where I am right now. From the little town, now I'm in New York in this platform where I interact with brand experts, with product development experts, with amazing designers, talented videographers, where kind of like they are supporting me about, you know, like taking these initiatives into another level. We are still in a very, very, very early stage, but this is something that we have been doing. So what are we? We are a movement of optimistic rebels. Optimistic rebels such as Jean-Paul. As well as him, we have optimistic rebels in 30 countries. They are the ones who do community organizing, the ones who kind of like instigate more happiness around their communities and around themselves, from art installations to guerrilla gardening, to fixing something, to converting something bad into something good. They are kind of like the continuous inspiration, and this is the soul of Make It Happy. We believe in happiness as a choice. Like everybody has a choice. Happiness is also human inspiration. Or otherwise, if somebody can tell me that you don't want to be happy, you can raise your hand. I hope nobody will raise their hand. Happiness is contagious. We just saw it at the very beginning of this talk, where kind of like we created a song together. And happiness is a movement. We believe also in collective happiness. It's not only about your own happiness, but it's about how you have the gift and how you can spread happiness to those around you, and how you can give the best that is in you to affect in a positive way the community that is surrounding you. So we want to inspire people to prioritize happiness. For instance, you brush your teeth every single morning, right? Why you don't also prioritize your happiness and think about things that makes you happy and just do it? How we prioritize happiness is by creating tools to instigate happiness. And we do it in 3 levels. The first one is in individuals. So what I'm going to present is just like a little nuggets of like things that we have been doing in each level: individuals, companies, and governments. The first one is individuals. So we have been just going around building campus ambassadors programs, regional ambassadors, happiness advocates, inspiring individuals. We have been also creating tools such as this book, where we ask people, what is your idea to make the world a happier place? Where we are trying to collect 1 million of those ideas, and hopefully will become an open source of ideas of happiness accessible to everybody. Last week, we launched this campaign with Mashable, in which we asked Vine experts to send us their video about what happiness means to them. And actually, these were the winners from this contest. Those were the main videos. And we present these videos at the UN. So it's kind of like you just give a little platform to people to participate and to engage, and something amazing can start happening. All those are vines. Besides individuals, we have been also working with companies, creating partnerships. We really want to create partnership with companies to be able to create those tools. We have been also doing workshops, lectures. Colombia, I'm from Colombia. We have been doing a lot of amazing things in Colombia, where people and companies have been signing happiness agreements where they, with CEOs, commit to really take responsibility over the happiness of their employees. So this video was taken in a bulletproof clothing company in Colombia. You know, we go there, we work with people, and sometimes you also have to take some risks. So I think I took a shot there for happiness, and literally a shot. The whole idea is that they save lives, right? So they challenged me to also to use one of their tools for how they save lives. I was chill. It didn't hurt, I swear. And governments, has been very interesting. In fact, a week ago, we were celebrating the International Day of Happiness, and I'll go to that in a little bit. But we participated in the very first happiness summit at the UN with ministers from 65 different countries. And when you see like all these ministers kind of like discussing about, hey, we should include happiness in this or that, or how can we include happiness in the creation of public policies, then is when you start feeling that there's something happening and something in the air that kind of like is somehow right about the work that you're doing. So we have been also working with governments, and we're kind of like also big supporters of Bhutan. As you know, Bhutan, I'll go there, but Nima's going to explain a little bit.
We consider gross national happiness more important than gross national product, because happiness is about being human first. We make public policies that truly serve the public by involving grassroots people, where every choice counts, every voice counts, every happiness counts. We'll welcome you to this great initiative by our friend Mario Chamorro and Happy Post team to spread happiness for positive social change.
So the beauty of Bhutan is, Bhutan is this country that only has like 1 million inhabitants, that is between India and China, and they started taking the risk and instigating happiness in the economy and just redefining value in a different way. They measure all their success based on happiness, and thanks to the experiments that they have been doing that there, some of those have been replicated in countries such as Germany, France, and now like more countries are kind of like just joining. And in fact, in 2015, there's going to be the new G8 meeting in Germany, and Angela Merkel is definitely very interested in the happiness agenda, so she wants to include happiness as a new measurement that countries can adopt and build public policies from. Also, from the government side, we have been instigating happiness. We have been talking to different leaders here in the US and other organizations as well, just planting some seeds about how can we support and how can we bridge like all these initiatives from governments to the grassroots level. This is another tool that we built. It's just a great story that I love. So my good friend Nadim Massen, he's an MIT grad and he lives in Cambridge. and he was teaching this class called Art Entrepreneurship. So he went to the City Council of Cambridge to ask for some help for his students, right? But the response was really bad and really awful. So somehow he called me that night and said, Mario, the response was awful. I'm going to run for City Council and fix that. And I said, well, let's do it together. So we built this map in less than 4 days, in which we collected like about 200 videos, and we placed it on the map of Cambridge, and we geotag everything, and based it on the responses about what makes people happy about Cambridge and how they will be happier to be in Cambridge. He built his political program, and now he's a city councillor, and he's working pro some of these initiatives as well. So those are some of the tools that we have been building. And finally, this is something that is very recent, just happened last week. Beautiful thing about the International Day of Happiness. The UN created the International Day of Happiness. This year was the second one. So our vision is to create an international holiday where kind of like companies and governments can celebrate happiness as well as individuals. It's a little step, but it can lead into like bigger things. It's just a show of the recognition from the government side to happiness. So we help organizing this event at the UN, and also we were able to mobilize people in 18 different countries where we have like different activations, from collections of garbage in oceans to events at universities to make it happen.
I'm happy if my family is happy.
Happiness is about being human first. Every choice counts, every voice counts, every happiness counts. To spread happiness for positive social change.
Make it happy. So it was truly inspiring to see 18 cities, people creating their own initiatives, following some of our initiatives. We asked people to draw a happy face on their thumbs in the support of happiness. We also asked them to create circles, but also they ended up doing a bunch of amazing things. And thanks to them, we were able to reach about like 20 million people just to celebrate happiness, to hear at least for the first time about the International Day of Happiness. And this is kind of like a long-term vision, but definitely we want to get to a more, to a better level. Mao Zedong used to say that revolutions are not dinner parties, right? Revolutions also takes a lot of guts. In fact, a good old friend of mine used to say that, you know, it takes balls to be happy. So where does it start? As every revolution, start with individuals, as well as happiness. It starts with you. So everybody has the gift to make the world happier. Everybody has not only the gift, but also the responsibility to make the world happier. From your own lives to people that are surrounding you, but also on the amazing tools that you guys build on a daily basis. And this is kind of like the invitation is to help us to continue instigating happiness. This tower is the largest building in Colombia. And thanks to my good friend Pablo and to the Make It Happy Colombia team, we were able to light up that building. The building that I saw when I was 16 years old and I was just staring at it. That building was irradiating happiness, was showing to a city of 9 million people messages of happiness. So for me, that's hope. And that's hope that kind of like all of us, we can irradiate happiness and kind of like things can happen, right? So that's my invitation for you today, and that was the simple idea that I wanted to share with you. Instigate happiness from your own jobs, from your own lives, and help us to be part of like this Make It Happy revolution. And that's it. Thank you so much.